did it. Podcast is old. Its back hurts.
Should we buy some over-the-hill balloons from Spencer Gifts?
When do we get our AARP magazine in the mail?
I think we've got another 15 episodes before that one.
Okay. Around the corner, though.
Feels good.
It's kind of a sweet spot where you're at sort of an apex of earning potential and you can still get some stuff done. The medical expenses haven't really started mounting up yet when you're 40 minutes old.
I was just thinking about the ages of cast of characters here. And I think 40 is actually a pretty good midline, not necessarily of average, but I feel like everyone is either below 40 or above 40.
In terms of the whole cast or just this minute?
Well, certainly this minute, but when I extend it to the McAllisters, like if you think about the quote-unquote kids, even the oldest of that generation being Heather, early 20s maybe?
Mm-hmm. Maybe 19.
And then you've got, I'm just trying to think of who the youngest parents would be. Is it?
We've talked about this before, how Frank's got youngest child energy.
But what age is that?
I think Peter is early 40s, late 30s.
So you think Frank is under 40?
He sure doesn't seem it, except for his behavior. It's possible he's just a rotten older sibling. Are we assuming that Rob is the oldest because he has the oldest child of the bunch?
Yeah, so is Frank the middle child? Because his children and Peter's children lapping in ages.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be hard to tell based on that.
They're twins. Are they fraternal twins?
It runs in the family, right?
This is a Minute 40 bombshell for Peter and Frank McAllister, twins. We're just going to have to pick this up next week, guys. We are shook.
Can't process anything right now. Okay, let's power through, recap what happened. And I don't mean just now, because I'm still processing that. I mean, what happened in this minute of Home Alone?
In the 40th minute of Home Alone, we're in a drugstore. Kevin has just asked the clerk if his toothbrush is approved by the American Dental Association. She doesn't know. And then Kevin says, will you find out? She, of course, asked the drugstore's resident toothbrush expert, Herb, who doesn't know. And as they debate, old man Marley appears. He wants to buy some Band-Aids in the scariest way possible, causing Kevin to back away in fear, accidentally steal a toothbrush, and bolt out the door. And I believe the clerk has alerted the most heroic shot boy in cinematic history, Jimmy.
Well summarized.
Jerod, thank you.
Yeah, we actually start this minute with her incredulous eye roll.
Yes, I don't want to look into your question. I'm not here for my customers. I've got boxes of film to stack.
Yeah, she's continuing her trend of unhelpfulness.
Speaking of a potential Home Alone cinematic universe side project, the Clerk-style indie comedy of this lady and Herb and Jimmy and their misadventures as they run this Winnetka drugstore.
So when Kevin goes, can you please find out? And she goes, I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Exactly. I'd watch that.
That would actually line up pretty well with how funny I think Herb's voice crack is.
Oh, he's glorious. Unsung hero. I mean, the sung hero of this minute is Jimmy. The unsung hero is Herb. When asked, is this toothbrush approved by the American Dental Association? He looks so hurt to admit that he does not know. I don't know.
What is he wearing?
I don't know. Remind me what he's wearing.
He's got what appears to be the vest you wear when you're taking x-rays.
Came straight from the dentist.
I take it.
That's why he's so upset that he doesn't know. He just got out of the dentist. He still has the weighted x-ray vest on.
So I take it to be he's the pharmacist.
Yes.
Which is why when she says, we've got a question here about a toothbrush, he's the clear first line of defense.
He's the only person to ask.
And even though she warned him, right? Because she's like, Herb, he's like, yeah, better yet. Yeah. She preps him before he arrives. It's not just like, hey, Herb, can you come here? It's like,
I've got a question here about a toothbrush. Hold on to your pants.
yeah, which way does he take that? Does he take that as I should brace myself for something ridiculous? Or you might be surprised about this question, even though it's about a toothbrush.
Herb's been in the game for a long time. I think he's going into it hoping he can help, hoping he has an answer, which is why he's so hurt that he doesn't know.
So I read it more as bothered.
You know what bothers me a little bit is some more Home Alone physics of like seeing the door get like ringing the bell and the boots walking in and like a sequence that just doesn't quite cut together correctly physics wise.
So in a matter of seconds, we have someone walk in the door, stand in the door,
Yep.
somehow make their way to the front of the store to the counter with Band-Aids and payment in hand.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's something missing here.
Yeah, which is fine. I accept it because it all works on the emotional level of what Kevin's going through. But golly, when you're watching this minute over and over again real closely, those cuts just ain't cutting. And are these not the scariest boots? Or do the boots themselves not seem scary to you?
They seem large.
They're large. They have like those weird, like strappy loop things on them that don't seem to be doing much. They look like they got them off the Hellraiser set or something. They're just spikes away from being nightmarish. These are scary boots.
Really want to break that down because is it that they look militaristic?
Maybe.
Like these are menacing?
They are menacing boots, yeah.
I wonder if that dark, degraded leather material has anything to do with it as well.
Yeah. It's the material, the shape, the size. They're scary boots. At some point, someone in wardrobe showed Chris Columbus 3 pairs of boots, and he said those.
Well, and I think on a large man, it translates because if we were to say they are combat boots, then if we saw them on Tank Girl, we would read them quite differently than on Tall, Menacing Man.
Sure. Again, old man Marley is not doing himself any favors if he's trying to ingratiate himself to Kevin.
Let's switch over to the part that we have critiqued without watching this minute over and over and over, which is not the physics, but his refusal
to say hi,
to say anything.
Give me a smile, sweetheart. You'd be a lot prettier if you smiled, old man Marley. And by the way, Jerod, he's cutting in line.
It is an emergency.
That's not how I read it.
Let's go ultra generous. Let's say he's offering to pay for not only his Band-Aids, but the toothbrush as well.
That crossed my mind. Do you think he paid for the toothbrush?
I think he did. And I do think there was probably a bit of back and forth, right?
What an unresolved loose end of the movie that old man Marley doesn't hold up a receipt for Kevin at the end. By the way, that toothbrush, I took care of it for you. A big, long Walgreens-esque 4 feet of receipts and battery coupons. I got you. He's cutting in line. He's got a bloody, bandaged up hand. He needs some Band-Aids. That's fine. But Kevin's right there in front of the counter. He is clearly the customer being engaged with at this point. Who does this?
Who does this without saying something?
He just stares down at him and frowns. What is he supposed to think? You don't have to be scared of me. You can say hello. Yeah, so can you jerk. Weird booted, bloody-handed freak.
I know there's a ways to go in the film, but I would say that this minute is the most confusing so far. It's certainly the most confounding.
What is really hard to wrap your head around is why Kevin would just run away with toothbrush in hand.
I don't think he's thinking about the toothbrush.
He's not at all. I don't think
he realizes the toothbrush until later.
John Hughes just says so in his script that like Kevin has forgotten that he's even holding the toothbrush, and
right.
But it's hard to convey that visually, right? It's hard to direct that onto the screen. The idea that Kevin's mind isn't in a headspace. They do it pretty well. But
I was about to say, I think they do quite the job of that, which is him. There's a lot of this backing away and cutting back and forth to Kevin, and we almost hear it as well, because when her response to him is, "Hun, you pay for that here,"
Mm-hmm.
and it's not like he willfully ignores her. He just can't process that. And we don't quite hear it directly. And then when she's like, "Son, you have to pay for that toothbrush," we hear it a bit less. And he's still just looking straight at this dark, shadowy figure.
Mm-hmm.
What would be a better way to show that he's not thinking about
I
the
think
toothbrush?
I think they direct it just fine. I just find it hard to put myself in Kevin's shoes here. I don't think I would make that same unintentional choice. The last time he bumped into Old Man Marley, he screams and runs away. And this time it's more of a slow, petrified creep away thing.
But is it a choice, I guess, is the question.
No.
Like, he's not taking the toothbrush. He has the toothbrush and everything about him freezes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just don't know if I buy that. I've never been so petrified by fear that I steal a toothbrush. I can't relate. Who is this person?
I totally get it, because I don't even have to be all that frightened. I'm just that absent-minded. So you add fear in there, I totally buy it.
Okay, I'm with you.
You don't have to be. I appreciate that you are far more aware of your surroundings under pressure.
I don't know if I've ever been this scared of a neighbor.
Have you ever been this scared of something?
I'm sure, but never while holding unpurchased merchandise.
Okay, I think we've gotten to the core of it. Your fear of becoming a shoplifter is as great or greater than your fear of this hypothetical monster.
Yeah, I would have the forethought to throw the toothbrush in the air. I would go put it back. I would run away towards the toothbrushes.
Now that just sounds preposterous.
And hang it back up on the same hook.
You're saying that when you fear for your life, you would take the extra time, put a toothbrush back?
Yeah, I'm not going to leave more work for Jimmy. I'm the considerate coward. That's what I am.
I think it's job security for Jimmy. It's like a make-work project. We should be sending little boys in there to mess things up all the time.
This is like when my mom got mad at me for not throwing a can out of the window of our car.
Wait, she got mad at you for not littering?
Yes.
Were you at a recycling facility?
No. She just thought that someone would pick up that can and recycle it, so I would be doing a good thing by throwing it out the window.
Were you in an area with an incredibly high homeless concentration?
We were like near a trailer park.
That says housed to me.
Even if, Jerod, let's say your local can guy was walking down the sidewalk with his shopping cart full of cans. You can't just throw it out the window 30 yards away from him.
If it's empty, I do.
Oh, no.
I say what's up to him, and I let him know it's for him.
No, yeah. Slow down, toss it his way, hand it to him. Sure.
Oh, you're saying like you wouldn't belt him with it.
I wouldn't even.
Or just toss it into the great unknown, hoping that you get somewhere in his vicinity.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's the same move as driving past an impoverished person and flipping a nickel 30 feet away from him. Go, there you go. Gave you a nickel. It's down there in that ditch, in that anthill. Go get it. You're welcome.
Yeah, intent has a lot to do with this.
I feel the need to say that my mom is a wonderful human being. This was a weird day for her. And maybe she's right, but outside of this one day, she's an angelic creature.
You're just saying that she was having a not very conscientious day.
Some train of thought got into her head, and she told her kid to do something, and that kid watched a lot of specials at school featuring various animated characters about not littering, and I was too brainwashed by public schooling to listen to my mother.
Yeah, there's a lot packed into this, right? Because depending on what age you are, it might actually be tragic that you didn't listen to your mother.
It turned into like a small conflict between us, which is normal when a child refuses to do what their parent just told them to do.
It proves the brainwashing works.
Yeah. I mean, if you get a Ninja Turtle to tell me something, I'm just going to listen. That's why I don't drink or do drugs. At some point, the Ghostbusters and Heathcliff got together and told me it was a bad idea.
So if Jimmy's mom had said, "Stop that boy," he would have just sat there.
Jimmy, stop that boy. No.
Nah.
We failed to mention last episode that you and I have been in this building.
Yes. We did fail, but you can put the blame on me.
I forgot to mention it too.
But given how susceptible you are to brainwashing, I feel like it might have been my fault for not mentioning it,
I
and you
mean,
just followed that lead.
as the podcast official critical thinker, I think it does fall on you to get these bullet points in order.
What do you remember of your experience in this building?
I remember it's now a Panera. I recall not buying anything.
Yes.
We walked in, breathed in the air, and then moseyed on out.
I recall traffic being a totally different obstacle than what was presented in this film. And I think most of that is probably just time. Like, I don't think that this was a high traffic area that was slowed down due to production. I think just at the time it might not have been as busy.
I remember that this shopping center, plaza, whatever it is a pretty realistic walk from the McAllister home, too. It's kind of a healthy walk, but like it's just right around the corner. It's walkable for a child, from what I recall.
I don't remember those distances because I know we were guessing about was it the supermarket we couldn't?
Yeah, the supermarket is farther away, but this, like, geographically, it didn't need to be, but it is a walking distance from the McAllister home.
I don't want us to miss a big point here, which is Jimmy's 20% cartoonish exit.
Yeah, it's a very Superman kind of bolt into action.
He rears back
He does.
in preparation for his bolt.
Mm-hmm. Like a cartoon character.
And he runs right out of the minute.
This minute is almost exclusively inside the drugstore.
Yeah, we just barely get outside.
But that's pretty rare for us, too.
Yeah, it slots in quite nicely. You mentioned something about the direction, a couple of other things in the script. Are there any other pieces that are relevant here?
This scene plays out like the script says. The American Dental Association stuff is in there. Herb is in there. This lady in the script also doesn't have a name.
Mm.
And like I said, the paralyzing fear that Kevin has is right there in the script. In the script version that I have, there's an omitted moment, which leads me to believe that there was some sort of scene that was taken out. And maybe there was a little more buildup of Marley coming in and interacting. I think it showed Marley going to get those Band-Aids and stuff, and then they cut that out. So at least John Hughes had the same concerns that we did in terms of the pacing. Do we acknowledge and or concede any Christ metaphors with Old Man Marley having a bandaged hand, a bloody palm? It's a Christmas movie after all. Who saves Kevin from falling victim to his sins?
Stig Marley.